This tutorial will teach you how to remove and replace the wheels on your boosted board with Orangatang Kegels or Orangatang Caguamas. This tutorial applies to all post V1 boosted models. All boards use the same pulley and gear size, which match the core of the Orangatang Kegel and Caguama. Most other e-board brands that use the Orangatang Kegel will work with the Orangatang Caguama. First, gather your tools. You will need a skate tool, 3mm hex tool, flathead screwdriver, and your wheel of choice. In this case, the Orangatang Caguama. Step 1. Remove the axle nut. Using your skate tool and a counterclockwise rotation, remove the axle nut from the hanger. Step 2. Remove the motor cap. Using your 3mm hex tool, remove both screws from the motor cap. Once removed, you can take off the motor cap to expose the motor screws. Step 3. Loosen the motor screws. Using the same 3mm hex tool, loosen the 4 motor screws. Be sure to not remove them entirely, a simple half turn should suffice. Step 4. Release belt tension. By sliding the motor towards the truck hanger, you will release belt tension and be able to remove the wheel. Step 5. Remove the wheel. Step 6. Remove the gear. Using your flathead screwdriver, gently pry the edges of the gear away from the wheel while rotating the wheel to apply pressure on all sides. Step 7. Place bearing and gear into new wheel. Be sure to place a skate bearing on the outside edge of the wheel. You can use your old ones if you don't have extras. Fit the gear into the locking holes of the wheel's core. Apply enough pressure that the gear stays in the wheel core when picked up. Step 8. Tighten the gear onto the wheel. Be sure to place your belt back on the motor and spin the wheel until the belt wraps around the gear. Place your 8mm washer on the outside of the skate bearing, then finger tighten the nut back on the axle. Using your skate tool, gently tighten the axle nut to lock the gear into the wheel's core. Once you cannot tighten the axle nut any further, loosen the nut about a quarter turn to avoid choking the bearing. Give the wheel a spin to check for choke. Step 9. Add belt tension and tighten the motor screws. Using your skate tool as a wedge, push the motor away from the hanger to make sure there is sufficient tension in your belt. Tighten 1 or 2 of the motor screws to lock in the tension. Now tighten the rest of the motor screws to secure the motor. Step 10. Replace the motor cap. First, fit the motor cap back in place. Using your 3mm hex tool, tighten and lock the motor cap screws to lock down the motor cap. Step 11. Give it a spin. Power up your boosted board and use the controller to accelerate the wheels, just to make sure everything is in place and working. Now you're ready to ride. Happy shredding from Orangatang Wheels.